Hello and welcome back to the Football Discussions YouTube channel. I say welcome back. Obviously, I have not uploaded on this channel for over a year. I think the last video I uploaded on this channel was the best 11 of the decade, which was over a year ago. I've been really busy and not really had the time to get down to recording and editing the videos. But it's brilliant to be back. We've also got a name change as well. It's now Football Discussions on YouTube. But it'll be just for the same similar type of content that was football news. It was just your match reviews and previews, just little like list videos and things like that, which were always there. Now today we've had a bit of, I say a bit of an issue, but we've had a lot of issues in terms of trying to get the audio right for today's video. But we finally got it correct. So we're hoping that it's completely fine now and we can get on our way in terms of the video. Now, today we're just going to be talking about the game which will be taking place at Tannadice tomorrow between Celtic and Dundee United in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. And I'm joined by a guest on the channel who's going to be making his debut. And what a day to make your debut. It's Nathan. So he'll just be on the channel. He'll be doing videos as well. Sometimes you'll have my boring voice, but other times you'll be blessed with his presence as well. So looking forward to it. We're just going through the preview for Monday's night's game and the usual predictions and things like that. So let's get started. So Celtic come into this game on the back of a brilliant 3-1 win over Livingston, which put to end of their Tony McInerney hoodoo and ends their struggles and keeps them 3 points clear at the top of the table ahead of Rangers. And now they were looking to shift their focus to cup football. What did you make of the Livingston result, Nathan?
I thought defensively looked very solid. I thought second half, as we always do, we drop off a bit, but we got those goals and it calmed us down a bit.
I thought Starfelt, I'm special mention Carol Starfelt. I think he looked really good. And he's, a lot of Celtic fans, right, or so have criticised him, but I think other times, the criticism hasn't been warranted as much. But I think against Livingston, I thought him and Carter Vickers, they just looked to be getting up a good partnership together. And it's brilliant to see because Celtic obviously struggled defensively over the last few years, so it's good to see a good partnership bonding. I'm sure it is.
One thing I will say though is the only letdown in that game was Greg Taylor. I thought he was awful. I thought he'd get caught out of position a lot. I think
Greg Taylor's a player who is up for debate at times. I think sometimes I think the Celtic support are we're really split on Greg Taylor. I think Greg Taylor does try. He does try. I think he's just lacking that technical ability that you need in terms to be a Celtic player. I think he would be a good player for us in terms of backup left back. But I think left back, I've always said from the start of the season that we need to be looking to strengthen in that position. But I think every player on that pitch, as much as you say Greg Taylor, I think from Joe Hart to Dejan Maida up front, I thought had a fantastic game and they had to rise it.
Dejan Maida, even though he scored the goals, he needs to work on his finishing because he misses like 3 open goals a game basically.
I think that's Maida yet again another one where the support is kind of split, but I think you need to give Dejan Maida time. I'm looking forward to seeing him and Kyogo in the team together and see how they kind of link up together. In terms of who will play out on Monday, I think obviously we'll get into who I think will play later on, but I think Georgios Giakoumakis, yet again another brilliant option. And I think that's the big thing for Celtic this season, Nathan. We've got the options. We didn't have, at the start of the season. We've got Georgios Giakoumakis, we've got Dejan Maida. It's not just the striker positions as well. We've got 2 players in every position, it seems like, at the moment. So it's a really good time in terms of Celtic. I think Celtic unbeaten domestically since that game against Rangers back in September, which is absolutely mad. a fantastic record, and it's all down to the players and Ange Postecoglou.
Ange's got this team playing the Ange special.
Would you make it opposition? Would you make a Celtic's opposition?
Well, I was just going to touch on that. So Dundee United in the last few games have drawn 3, lost 1, and won 1. So this team's very defensively solid. We've seen they've got forces like Tony, got a good midfield, the goalkeeper, special mention. I mean, against Rangers and Celtic especially, always shows up. So I'm expecting this game to be won by 1 or 2 goals from Celtic. I wasn't expecting it to be a whitewash.
I think I have to agree with you on most of the points here. I think Segrist, he's been a fantastic keeper for Dundee United. I think the fact that he's not been looked at, and you're even so much.
He's linked to Rangers. He's linked to Rangers.
If he is linked with Rangers, I think it's very much deserved. I think because he is a top keeper. I think against the shows and the big games where you need against your Celtic and your Rangers, where you need your goalkeeper will be making 10, 15 saves a match. Certainly. So I think Dundee United for me have been a team which they've gave us problems. They've given us problems this season. You look back at I think it was the September game where it was 1-1. Leila Bada scored, and then about 2 minutes later, Dundee United lumped it off. Side of the pitch and scored. And then you've got the way up.
Can I just touch on something? One thing you see with the style of Dundee United is they're very cross heavy, so they'll get the ball out to the wide players, and then they'll look for Tony Watt or someone in the middle of the park. And we know with Tony Watt, he's always lurking in that middle of the pitch, so that's one thing you'll need to look out for.
For me, a few weeks ago against, I think, we looked at a few weeks ago. For me, I look at that and I say, like, last minute Leila Bada, winner to, Dundee United again. I thought they were defensively, they were compact, and they were.
All you need, and this is going to sound critical, but all you need to beat Celtic is one long ball over the top, and Starfelt looks lost. When the ball's in the ground, Starfelt, I think he looks solid. But in the air, it just gives away stupid free kicks, which could lead to opportunities, and we know how Celtic defend set pieces.
I think you look at the 2 overrun teams at the moment, at this moment in time. You look at Rangers as well. I think they are not defensively sound either. I don't think they're defensive.
At this stage of the season, you can't. Obviously, it's between Celtic and Rangers, but you can't look and compare, because at the end of the day, it's about who gets the job done.
But I think, as I said at the start of the video, I think Starfelt seems to really be getting used to because I think a lot of players, people need to remember, he's probably came for a different style of football over when he played before Celtic in Russia. I think he's played a different I think it's a different style. A lot over here. It's a lot more physical. Team, you're not going to get teams are going to sit behind the ball. You're going to have a lot of the ball scene, and you need to make sure that your every pass is a positive one. So I think he is slowly starting to get to grips with the Scottish game, and I've been, as I think both of us have been, really impressed with Carol Starfelt in the way he's
he takes the criticism when he comes back always next game and tries his hardest.
I think that's another thing. I think you've got, if you play for Celtic and Rangers, you're going to get criticism. Any player, is going to get criticism if you play for one of Scotland.
Even Jota, the last 4 games he's been getting a whole lot of criticism.
I think, definitely. I think, but that's what you're brought to do. I think you're brought to perform week in, week out, for Celtic and Rangers, and I think if I was to touch on Dundee United, I think I've been impressed by the way Tam Coates has went about his business. I think he sets his teams up. He sets his teams up defensively, and he sets his teams up to really. And we've seen that with the brilliant results he's got against Rangers and Celtic. That I don't think I think he is a manager who I quite like. I think he's doing a fantastic job at Dundee United.
Aye.
I don't know if you're on that, but
I do.
I would.
But because you look at the players they've sold, especially Fuchs, I I really like him. I thought he was the force in that midfield that brought that bit of technical side to the team, and they've not really missed him that much.
I think, look at signings as well. Tony Watt. I was genuinely surprised when he didn't leave Motherwell because I thought he was, quite happy at Motherwell and playing his football. But he's Tony Watt's a goal scorer. And I have looked at the Dundee United team, and the goals, they don't seem to have this out and out goal scorer, as you call it, who gets the goals. I think in a way, quite like Celtic, the goals are kind of spread around. So, you've got two, three, maybe four players who obviously score the goals. I think the top goal scorer right now is Tony Watt. I think most of the goals were scored for Motherwell in the start of the season. So, but
One see before, like, obviously go any further, one thing I'd like to touch on is I'm looking at the table. They now Dundee are in seventh, right, and they're only like a few points off fourth. So because Hibs are on 37 and they're on like 36, so they're only points off getting to that fourth place.
I think that's the thing about the league this season. I think it's the tightest I've seen it in I don't know how long. Up the top, obviously between Celtic and Rangers. Then
Oh,
you've got
it's joint fifth and fourth. Livingston are joint with Hibs. Everyone is a point apart from Dundee United and St Johnstone. The league's dead close.
I think look at I think it's as you said there. It's such a tight between your bottom six and the top six. I think it's really tight. But I think both sides will just be wanting to shift their focus to the cup football because Dundee United, they want a name in a hat. Of course they will, and I think they will go and have a go. It's cup football. There's nothing to lose
Also,
as such. Because it isn't the league form, but I think they will come and have a go at Celtic, and it'll just be interesting to see how Celtic kind of
also as
respond to.
Also, as well as you look at it, right? See the last games that Celtic have played in the cup, they've been playing well. I don't mean anything to the players, but they've been playing their B team basically with a couple starters in there. And we've seen the last game, and wasn't happy with the complaints. The complaints of the team, so
I think
that's a factor.
I think the last game was straightforward. I think it was the lack of tempo. I think it's quite evident. I think the lack of urgency. I think the team, and I think that's what kind of annoyed Ange because you could hear him on the sidelines, shouting, and it got to the point when he was absolutely, shouting and bawling. He wasn't,
I
he was
was
really
raging.
happy with the performance. But I think I'm looking forward to the game because I think I think it's going to be one of those games where people, it's. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash for Celtic. I really don't. I think we've
I
seen
think
it.
Dundee United will score at least one.
But I think they're always a threat for set pieces, which seem to be Celtic's weakness in many ways. So I could see Dundee United scoring, but I think with that massive win against Livingston at the weekend, I think Celtic, for me,
Aye,
I think that's going to give them a lot of confidence. I really do. I think it's the one thing that Ange had to get rid of, and he did. And I think that's just the way I feel. I think about it. I think it's just going to maybe push this team up a few more. Well, it could push this team potentially up a few more levels.
yeah, and we know Dundee United have got quality in their team, especially a couple loan signings. Like they've got the players that could give Celtic trouble.
So you see that Dylan Levitt in Manchester United. I think he looks a player as well. So they
Aye,
have got players who can hurt Celtic, but it's obviously the big thing for them. They need to keep it tight at the back because I think if you open up against Celtic too much, you could be talking 3-4. But
and they've got a couple bench players from like Arsenal, Tim Akinola or whatever.
mm,
He said he looks a real player. You've seen the highlights, and I think that could be a player that comes off the bench and cause Celtic
I
some
think
trouble.
it's going to be. I think that for me, for total, I think it's a going to be a good game. I think Dundee United will come for it, go for it. I think they want the name in the hat. I think obviously, you've seen Hearts and Hibs already through to the next round. Obviously, still get the two foreign teams to play, and probably by the time this video's out, we'll know who is the third team between Dundee and Rangers. I would probably assume Rangers. I would a bit a tall order.
I don't know about that. I think the Rangers are gonna be a bit wary about they want the league.
No, I think for me, I think they come off a massive boost in Europe. And I think Dundee, as we've seen, is struggling at the moment this season. So I think for me, it would be. I would probably say that it's. I would say you're probably talking about Hibs, Hearts, and Rangers in the draw for the semi, and obviously the Dundee and United and Celtic game is. I think Celtic's like favourites, obviously, but I think Dundee United will, could really cause Celtic an upset. Now
There's two, before we go to the predictions. There's two main things I want to just say here is will players take their chances, because we know in these types of games Ange likes to play players like Ben Doak and Karamoko Dembele and maybe Araguchi. Will these players be willing to take their chance in a hard game against Dundee United on a Monday night?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how many changes Ange kind of makes, because I see him making maybe one or two, but I don't think he would make a full team change. I think I would just upset the rhythm of the team.
Ange wants to win every game. Doesn't care who the team is against.
And he said that he's made that perfectly clear in his press interviews, and so I think for me, I think Celtic will not make too many changes. I think both sides will want to go for it, and and will be ready the problems that Dundee United have caused us before. So I think if we're talking about changes to the side in terms of the Celtic and probably Dundee United team, we won't probably see too many changes, unless they obviously are forced due to injury. But I don't see many changes happening. Now on predictions, I'm going to start with my prediction. I think the form that Celtic are in at the moment, I can only see a Celtic win at the moment. I think it is going to be a tight game, and I'm saying 1-0 to Celtic.
I see the opposite from you. I think that Celtic have been going through a rough patch recently with leaving it late, and I think if you leave it late against these teams, you'll pay for it. I feel Dundee United will go ahead early in the first half, and they'll make it in at half time. It'll be one each, and I think Celtic will score in about the 75th minute and win the game 2-1.
So that is the video for today. I hope you did enjoy, and we'll be probably out with another video pretty soon. So we'll speak to you later. Goodbye.